Hi, welcome to my video, and if it's your first time here, then welcome to my channel. My name is Anila, and today I'm going to be sharing 3 different breakfast recipes with you. I'm also starting a new series on my channel that I'm calling Take 3, Make 3. So today I'm going to be sharing 3 recipes, and each of those recipes will feature the same 3 ingredients: onions, tomatoes, and coriander. Of course, these recipes are going to feature other ingredients too. I'm still going to be using some of my pantry staples, oils, spices, and some other easy to find ingredients, but each of these recipes will all feature onions, tomatoes, and coriander. All right, let's get started. So the first recipe I'm going to be sharing is for oatmeal Cheele, and of course I'm using onion, tomato, and coriander. I'm also going to be using some steel cut oats, and those are going to form the basis of our Cheele. I've shared a recipe for Cheele before on my channel made out of mung beans, but this is going to use steel cut oats. In addition to the oats, I'm going to be using some spices and a few other pantry items, but all of the ingredients and measurements will be down below for you in the description box. Moving ahead, the first thing you need to do is blitz your oats to a powder-like consistency, or as fine as possible. Empty the oats into a bowl for making the batter. And then into the oats we're going to add some spices, so some whole cumin, turmeric, red chili powder, coriander powder, and we're going to season with a little bit of salt, which you can always adjust as you go, so I say start small. I also added a little bit of baking powder. That's just going to help texturally with my Cheele. And I'm going to add my 3 ingredients, my 3 featured ingredients. So the tomato, onion, and coriander. I'm also chopping up a green chili pepper, but that of course is optional. And I like to give things a bit of a mix before adding the water. I do have a measurement for the water down below, but I think it's a good idea to add it a little bit at a time in case you want to make any adjustments. You don't want a batter that is too runny, nor do you want a batter that is too thick. Once your batter is combined, you need to heat up a skillet and add a little bit of oil. You can brush on some oil or just add a few drops of oil to that hot skillet and spoon out some of the Cheele batter. I do like to try to shape mine as round and as attractively as possible, but if they all look like different countries, that's okay. And if you want to make yours a little crispy, then I would suggest adding a few drops of oil around the periphery, and that'll help to crisp up those edges. Once you can move it and slip a spatula underneath, all you have to do is keep flipping it and cooking it until it has achieved the desired level of crispiness that you would like. And I do like a little bit of color, a little bit of browning on mine. I also really enjoy the texture of this type of Cheele. Now, a Cheele is typically made out of dal, which is soaked and then it's ground into a batter with, some aromatics and spices. But this is really great if you want to eat more oats, but you don't want sweet oats like porridge. I'm not really fond of porridge. But this is a great way to get some oats in the morning that are not in porridge format. And I really like mine with chutney or ketchup on the side. That's not my hand. That's Pranav's hand. I just thought I should share that. Breakfast number 2 is Sevian Upma, and this is one of my favorite things to eat in the morning. Of course, I'm using onions, tomatoes, and coriander, plus a few more things from my pantry, mostly whole spices this time. Now, the first thing you need to do is toast your Sevian. If you are not using Sevian, which has already been toasted, which you can get, if you're toasting it, it takes about 7 minutes on medium-high. It happens very quickly. It changes color and it emits a really nutty aroma. Then you need to boil the Sevian noodles, or the vermicelli. And thank you to my friend Daniela for telling me exactly how to pronounce that. I've been calling it vermicelli my whole life, I'm sorry to say. All right, so I like to use hot water from my kettle. I pour it into the same pan, I cover it up, and I bring this up to a boil. They cook very quickly. Again, this happens in about 5 to 7 minutes. I do like to stir it in between and check it to make sure that the noodles are not getting too soft too quickly. And then once you're done, you can strain these noodles and set them aside. And I am just continuing in the same pan. I didn't even rinse it out. I just poured out the noodles and then added some oil. And then to that oil, I'm adding my whole spices. So the mustard seeds, cumin seeds, coriander seeds. I did crush these ever so slightly in my tiny mortar and pestle before adding them in. And then I also added some curry leaves and, of course, my green chili pepper, which is optional. And here come our featured ingredients. So the onions, tomatoes, coriander. You know what? We're actually going to save the fresh coriander for a little bit later. But at this point, you can add the onions and tomatoes, combine them with the spices, and allow everything to cook for a minute. And of course, we're going to season with a little bit of salt. We want our food to be nice and flavorful. We're also going to add some black pepper into this as well. And if you like my Turkish spice grinder, because sometimes people ask me, I have a little Amazon shop and the link is down below. So if you want a grinder just like mine, it does black pepper and all the other whole spices, you can check the link in the description box. Now here I've added in the Sevian as well as the freshly chopped coriander, and I'm going to combine everything together, but I want to emphasize something that I did. I switched off the element of the stove, and I think that's really important because if the noodles hit a pan that is being continually heated up, they're going to start to stick to the bottom and you're going to have to scrape them off the bottom of the pan. Nobody wants to do that. So switch off the stove, add in all of those ingredients, and then just bring them together with no additional heat under the pan. Something that I really like about this dish is that there is not a lot of chewing involved. I mean, don't get me wrong, you still have to chew your food, but it goes down really easily, and it's so delicious. My third and final recipe is no egg masala scrambled eggs on toast. We're going to be using our featured ingredients plus some crumbled paneer or crumbled firm tofu. And to get started, I added some whole cumin seeds into some oil over medium-high heat. When these seeds start to crackle, you'll know that the oil is hot enough, and I do like to push them around a little bit in the oil. And once they are crackling away, you can add the chopped onion and tomato. Give those a bit of a stir to combine them with the whole cumin seeds. Next comes the salt. And as I said in the Oatmeal Cheele recipe, I like to add just a little bit at a time because you can always adjust it. I'm also cutting up one green chili pepper, which is optional. It's actually in all 3 recipes. I should have just called it Take 4, Make 3, but that didn't sound as good. All right. If you're using firm tofu, I have to emphasize something that I think you should do, which is to squeeze out the excess water from the tofu. You can do it the night before or at least an hour before, and that's really going to help. I'm using paneer, so I'm just using some crumbled paneer that I'm putting directly into the pan with my cooking onions, tomato, chili pepper, and cumin. And next I'm adding a little bit of haldi or turmeric just for the yellow color. It's not going to impart any flavor to this recipe. It's just going to make it look like egg. You can certainly adjust the heat as you go, and if it seems to you like your paneer is getting a little bit dry or the whole mixture doesn't have enough moisture, you can add a little bit of water. Now we're also going to season with a pinch of garam masala. This is not going to be seasoned the way you would season a sabzi. It's just very light, very halka, and then add in the chopped coriander. The coriander or dhania is just going to wilt and impart its flavor a little bit just with the residual heat of the paneer. And finally, the secret ingredient to this is the kala namak, which is black salt, which is actually pink in color. It's going to give a slightly eggy flavor to this. If you ever smelt black salt or tasted black salt, you know exactly what I mean. It tastes kind of eggy. And at this point, your dish is done. So go ahead and set that aside and get out your, get it out from wherever it is. Get out your favorite toast. So mine is actually toasted sourdough. That's my favorite. toast. And on top of that, I'm gonna add some greens. I like bitter greens, so I'm adding arugula, but you could add something else like baby spinach, or maybe some massaged kale would be really nice. And then I'm gonna take my no egg masala scrambled egg mixture and add that on top of the arugula. I'm just gonna pile on as much as I like, which is a lot. And that's it. That breakfast is made. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope you enjoyed each of these recipes. If you found them useful, instructive, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when I post a new video, which I'm hoping will be Thursday. Let's see. Alrighty, bye-bye.